Hey all, Ryan Day from Calvert Home Mortgage here. Hope the day's going well. Spending a few quick minutes here to run through our Flip Analyzer Excel spreadsheet tool to use this to your advantage for all your flip deals. So without further ado, let's jump into it. At the bottom left-hand side here, we have instructions that are in-depth that are written out. If you're a better learner in the written component, then feel free to check out this tab. I'll be running through the flip-sales price column right here. And then we also have the reno budget worksheet, which I'll get into in the next little bit here. So when you open this up, the first thing that you're going to see is some cells here to populate your company information if you're going to be borrowing in a corporation. And then we have all the details here related to the subject property that you're looking to either flip or BRRRR. Moving along here, so we have all the costs associated with purchasing a property, selling the subject property, and then your operating costs for holding the property for the duration of the loan. So looking at this in a little bit more depth, on the left-hand side here, purchase costs. Broken down here, we have the legal costs. So it's industry practice for the private lender, for the individual to pay for the private lender's legal fees. So these are two sets of legal fees baked in here. So you're going to have one set of legals for the borrower paying for the private lender's legals, and then number two for the borrower paying for the solicitor representing the borrower. So these are two sets of legal fees, not just one. It's industry practice for all lenders to have title insurance, so that just runs you just under $200. Title search, inspection fee if you choose to get an inspection done on the property, land transfer tax, which obviously all properties have baked into it, and this will change and vary depending on what your purchase price is here. If you're uncertain what any of these tabs mean, then feel free to hover over them, and it has a definition as to what the term is. So feel free to use that at your advantage. And always remember, if you are purchasing a property in Toronto, there is double land transfer tax. So we just multiply this land transfer tax by 2. And at the bottom of all these tabs, you have a sum or a total. So in this example, the total purchasing costs are going to be just over $11,000. Now, moving on, we have all the costs associated with selling a property, which is primarily driven by real estate agent fee. So in Ontario, the commission structure is 5%. So that's 2.5% for the seller's realtor, and then 2.5% for the buyer's realtor as well too. Legal fees to discharge, $3,000, that's on the high end. However, we like to be as conservative as possible. So you're going into this deal eyes wide open on a worst case scenario. We always highly recommend forecasting for a worst case scenario and make sure that you are doing these assumptions on a worst case scenario in order to buffer in a healthy line of profitability in case things do go wrong. Operating costs, so these are all the costs associated with operating the property for the duration of the loan. So we have electrical, gas, water, sewer. If you choose to have an alarm system, having a budget in there for that. Insurance, property tax. Obviously, you're going to have to modify these numbers as you see fit. This will drastically change if you're buying a single-family detached home in Sudbury versus if you're buying a fourplex kitchen or so. Just modify these numbers to ensure that you're having an accurate representation of what your flip deal is going to look like. So now moving on to the meat and potatoes of this, we have all the variables that are responsible for your renovation. So we have months to renovate, which is 3 months, months to sell, which is 2 months. So the total months specifically for this deal is 5-month duration. Renovation budget for $50,000. In this example, the borrower is buying for $500,000, putting $20,000 down. As of September 27th, 2022, our rate for the $20,000 down is 16.49% on an annual basis. On a monthly basis, it's 1.37%. So on closing date, we would advance $480,000. And the borrower believes, in this example, from our analysis, that they'll be able to sell the property for $690,000. Here at Calvert, we like to be as transparent as possible. So your mortgage payments are illustrated here. So on a monthly basis, you're paying, call it $6,900 on a monthly basis. Your interest costs per day are $221. Your interest costs for 5 months is, call it, just over $34,000. All of our loans in Ontario have a 2% lender fee. That's capped into the mortgage. That's not paid on closing. You pay that 2% lender fee when you sell the property or if you refinance the property. So your total financing costs for this flip deal are, call it, $43,800, or just under $44,000. So this number here is the total amount for the mortgage for 5 months, and then the total cost of borrowing includes the lender fee, and that's how we get to this total number here. In this example, the down payment's 4%. You can see the formula there. And our loan to value is 71%. How we determine loan to value is the net mortgage plus the financing fee divided by the after repair value. So because this is 71%, we get the thumbs up in order to proceed with our underwriting criteria. Now, what's really cool about this spreadsheet is for all of the capital costs associated with this project, you're able to have a visual representation on where that capital is going. So in this example, 34% is going to renovations, 26% is going to selling, 30% for financing, 2% for operating, and call it 8% for purchasing costs. In this example, the borrower would be making $44,000, $125,000. The total cash needed for this deal is, call it $119,000. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Ryan, you're putting 20 grand down, you're putting $50,000 in for renovations. How are you getting to this $118,000 number? So we need to verify proof of funds that the borrower has enough money to close the property. They have enough for operating costs for 5 months. They have enough for renos, down payment, and mortgage payments for 5 months. So that's how we get to that total cash needed number of $118,000. We wouldn't need to see, per se, $118,000 in a cash account. It can come from multiple sources. It can be debt as well, too. So if you have $20,000 in the bank, we would just need to see a most recent bank statement. But if you have $100,000 capacity on a line of credit or on a credit card, or if you have a joint venture agreement, then that would also suffice as well too. We are able to get extremely creative. So if you have other properties that have equity in it, we could look to put a second mortgage on that property to use it as collateral. Feel free to reach out and I can explain that in a different video. Because that can be a little bit convoluted, all for one video. So return on cash invested in this deal is 37%, which is fantastic. On an annual basis, so on a 12-month basis, this would be just under 90%. And the monthly variable cost is $7,500. So if this project takes 6 months as opposed to 5 months, they'll be eating into, call it $7,500 in profitability. Now below here, we have all of the numbers associated with, if it takes one additional month, so it takes 6 months as opposed to 5 months, this is what all the costs are going to look like. Total cash needed, ROI, and what profitability looks like. If it takes 1 month less, so 4 months instead of 5 months, they'll be making, call it $51,600 in profit. Because our loans are fully open, time is always of the essence. So the quicker you can get in and out of this project, because interest is calculated daily, we don't have any prepayment penalties or renewal fees. It's in your best interest to be in and out as quick as possible. So you're putting as much cash in your jeans in terms of profitability for your flip deals. Now, if we get into the third tab here, for all of the projects that we fund, we're going to need a renovation summary. So we have an example here off to the right-hand side of kind of what we're looking for. So it's an itemized list of the renovations that you're going to be completing with a cost and a summary of the renovations, just to provide a scope of the work that you're looking to complete. We have an editable version here on the left-hand side, so feel free to populate this as you see fit. And always the more detail that you're able to provide with these renovation summaries, the better. It helps with 2 reasons. Number one, with turnaround time, so we can look to provide you with a quicker turnaround time the more detail that you have in your renovation summary. If we need to go back to you because there's some ambiguity, we're not quite clear on the finishings that we're using, it really does delay our turnaround time. So the more detail that you're able to put in these renovation summaries, the quicker we're able to provide a response, and the more accurate our after repair valuations will be, just because we're extremely clear on what the property is going to look like as complete. So hope you got value out of this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, Ryan@chmic.ca, and I can chat through your questions. Enjoy the day. Bye-bye.